So it's the 4th Ghana Giving Summit. Yeah, the theme is activating radical local philanthropy. I always say that in our part of the world, you see in other parts of the world, the Warren Buffetts and the rest and what they are doing. Some are even giving away their entire, life savings, if you like, over time, progressively, so that by the time they go, they've given everything out. But how about us? It also reminds me of that thing that Dr. Miles Monroe, may his soul rest in peace, had said in one of his works. Die fulfilled by dying unfilled. In other words, give everything. But do we give? Are we that philanthropic in this part of the world? And that's why we have a conversation this morning on the Ghana Giving Summit. Reverend Emmanuel Mafo is Acting Director, Center for Strategic Philanthropy and Social Investment, that is CESC. Okay, I'm going to try to, of the Pentecost University, and then Benedicta Safua Asamoah, Coordinator, Women in Philanthropy. Well, Benedicta, Rev, thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you for having us.
How did all of this start? If it's the 4th, it means we've come a long way. How did all of this start? I'll start with you, Rev.
So thank you so much. So Philanthropy Ghana is a coalition of networks, philanthropy organization associations. And there was a need to bring together philanthropy organizations that are giving time, giving talent, giving treasure, money, items in kind, and also mobilizing resources together. And so before COVID, 2019, the discussion around philanthropy came in that is there a need for organizations that are mobilizing resources to support change and transformation to be activated and ignited to be able to do more. And so the network organizations came together that can we form a network? And that's how SEPSI now comes in. So in the past 3 years, it was led by one organization called Giving Tuesday. And Giving Tuesday? Yes, and that Giving Tuesday is a global movement. So that started the movement to bring philanthropy organizations to actually activate philanthropy in the continent.
I see. And Benedicta, I'm curious, how did you get involved in all of this?
Well, as a coordinator for Women in Philanthropy Ghana, which is under Philanthropy Ghana, and also under the SEPSI, like you mentioned, which is a host for the summit, I am very much involved in it as well. And I personally, for one, I'm involved in philanthropy because of the Safwa Foundation, the foundation that I have. So that's how come I got in touch with the Philanthropy Ghana and Center for Strategic Philanthropy and Social Investment. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a curious question.
It's not a problem to get your Lamborghini, and
yes.
I know where some people will be saying, okay, or Cassetiobi. No. Yeah. Now that the Cybertruck is out, Tesla, I'm sure some people in Ghana would also be. It's not a problem, but how much are you giving back to society? We've had the Akosombo Dam spillage and those affected in Mepe and surrounding areas in the Tone, North, Central, South Tone. Recently, we had the Dawinya one. There are so many things happening, and basically, especially in our economic state, people are in need. We've been told by the World Bank, IMF, that a lot more people have slipped into poverty within the last how many years, partly on the back of COVID-19, the Russo-Ukrainian war, and all of that. So then I ask, what is the state of philanthropy? If I asked you, what is the state of philanthropy in Ghana right now? What would you say? Are we givers? Are we that much of, givers?
Okay. Maybe I'll just begin.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's meant for both of you. Actually.
Yeah, that's right. For me, on a personal perspective, I would say that we give. We give, even though that does not say that it is enough. And it doesn't have structures to it. And I always ask...
We give, but
exactly.
It doesn't have structures.
And I always ask myself, is it transformational? Is it a long-term impact? Is it something that can continue? Is it sustainable? Because you just wake up and you feed. And I think it's something that we do. I would just begin from that side. Something we do from beginning when I was a kid. For instance, in my mother's house, we wake up one day, or probably it's Christmas time, and we cook, large pots of food, and then we call the neighbors to come and eat. They eat today, and tomorrow, some of them are hungry. So how are we going to make this sustainable enough so that these people who are hungry will be fed, or rather we teach them how to fish and not getting fish.
So I get what you're saying. It's not coordinated. So it's like we're reaching out, but I mean, look, our Muslim brothers and sisters would do what they call sadaqah, right?
Exactly, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
but maybe it is that big man or that big woman and maybe a few other efforts in there. How about the rest of us? Maybe at Lent, because I'm Catholic, we'll say, oh, so we're fasting, and what I would have spent on this, I am donating to the poor. But beyond that, then what? I know at least Father Campbell and my parish had that drive where those street urchins, those on the streets, some sleeping rough and all of that, some of them have been rehabilitated, put in school. Those are the kinds of coordinations we need. But how do we streamline it? I think, Rev, you could come in.
So thank you. And one other thing I'd like to add to what she said is about how do we do this together? So
all of us, it doesn't matter.
All of us, it doesn't matter what you do. And then philanthropy is also not limited to money or funds. And so we are looking at people giving their time, which is volunteering with institutions, and the others to creating opportunity for talent development, which is the talent that we also give out. And then, so philanthropy is part of us, our culture for Ghanaians. And what we do is about giving, so somebody can come to Ghana and may want to go somewhere. Someone will lead a person, use the time, and then help the person to be able to achieve what the person wants to do. So it's all part of that. And then, so we are looking at how do we institutionalize this giving culture, and how do we do it together, and also see the lasting change and transformation in the society. And so if I'm giving my time, if I'm giving my talent, and even now we are looking at ties. So I have a network of philanthropies. I want to help organizations. Somebody needs help. How do I help the person to know where the person can access that help? And then now we also have testimonies, and where you need to tell somebody about the good thing of someone is doing. So I heard of Safwa Foundation doing something. Is it something that I can say, oh, she needs to be supported, an organization? So once we do all this, it's part of philanthropy.
And it's interesting because I was going to mention talents, skills, and other things that can be brought to bear. And you even mentioned networks, which are powerful, because sometimes it would amaze you, people reach out to me over many things. Sometimes it just takes connecting them to someone. I am not able to give them the help, but I know someone who can.
That is philanthropy.
And that's the most important thing.
So you're sharing your tithes, your
time, your treasures, everything.
Exactly so. So what's special, if I asked you, what's special about this year's Ghana Giving Summit, the 4th installment? What would you say? This time I'll start with you, Ray.
Good. So this year's summit, it's more of being led by the coalition. So the coalition is leading it. It's more of the network. The first 3 summits were led by one member organization. But this year, we are bringing together various philanthropy organizations, the advisors, the academic center, which the first time SEPSI is championing this. And then again, this one, the first 3 were online. They were virtual summits. So this is an in-person.
This is the first time you're doing an in-person one.
So last year we did something small and bringing together the team, but this year happens to be the first time we are mobilizing all the network members too. And then we are also looking at a theme for this year, which is more of activating radical local giving. We believe that there are a lot of philanthropy activities happening at communities and societies. And now even if you visit campuses, some university students are doing a lot of philanthropy activities. But all these things have to be harnessed together, and then we can see the change that we want to see in society. So this year's theme is also one part. It's new, and it's been organized by a team of networks, member organizations. And again, also the first time that we are looking at how are we working in synergies, partnership, not doing it. There are many philanthropy networks in Ghana, or platforms, but this one brings together all these philanthropy organizations so that we all chat one course and be able to see the transformation we want to see in Ghana.
I think it's brilliant what you're doing, trying to get everything together.
Yes.
And I see that in the end, Safwa, you're trying to also let this impact the SDGs.
Exactly.
That's the next level, because we have targets when it comes to poverty, targets when it comes to housing, targets when it comes to water, so many things in there. How then are you hoping this year's summit, will help activate that radical local philanthropy that he's speaking of? How are we going to go about it? What's the plan?
Okay, so most importantly, as we earlier mentioned, is actually embedded in the theme that we'll be using tomorrow. The program is actually tomorrow. So we are looking forward to have like 3 sessions in the whole summit. Okay. And then the second, so we have the plenary sessions, and the second of it, which will be the 17 rooms. Okay. And the 17 rooms will have about 5 thematic areas under the SDGs, which has the people, it has the peace, it has prosperity, it has planet, it has partnerships, most importantly, partnerships. And all of these are going to be digested under the SDGs, where everyone in that room will feel a part of and know the role that we can play. You know, we have just like 7 years to go to finish SDG.
Yeah.
Well,
some countries are doing better than others.
Exactly. So this
is
more like a call to action for us. And then how now people are working in silos. So how can we all migrate, come together, and make it more powerful so that we can attain the goal that we want to for the 7 years to end the SDGs.
Great. And I know it's happening at the British Council tomorrow, like has been mentioned. But just tell us about some of those you expect to actually speak at this event. Just let us know that.
So we're going to have the Philanthropy Network leadership.
Okay.
We have a steering committee made up of 7 team leaders. And then we're also going to have the chair for the SEPSI, our chair at the Pentecost University, Apostle, who is also the head, Christian Chapoy, for the center. He's also going to be there. We are also going to have Professor Henry, who is the chair for Philanthropy Ghana. And we're going to have also the Philanthropy Network leadership, Lovincia, who is a Philanthropy Ghana lead as well. And I was adding something to what Safua said, and when you talked about the various pieces that is going to be harnessed during the summit. The people is key, because how are we going to mobilize people for the philanthropy actions? Now we are looking at women, we are looking at media, we are looking at all sector of the economy. Yeah. How are we going to bring all these people? So we have Professor Henry also joining, and then Isaac Newton, who is also part of the national project team for the International Trade Center. He's also going to be there. And so these are all the players that we are going to have tomorrow. And then as part of activating the media philanthropy, now we've seen, for instance, this recent flood issue that happened in Ho. We saw how the media came on board to mobilize resources together. But how can we strengthen the media to do it more? So it's part of the people. Now we are bringing a new caliber of people to join the philanthropy. That's why we are now also have the media to this year.
Interesting stuff. Anything else you'd like to add on? Final words for both of you. I'll start with you, Safwa. And I also see, so it's a hybrid event, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be on TV and
on Zoom.
On Zoom,
yes. So virtual and then
virtual, and those who will come in person to the British Council. Final words.
Well, okay. So whenever we talk about philanthropy, I take it very personal, because I say that I cannot come to this world and not leave imprints. And leaving imprints, leaving legacies is tied to philanthropy. You do not need to create a foundation or create a company and start doing something for people to see that you are doing philanthropy. Even at your back door, there is philanthropy calling to you.
There are always people in need.
There are always people in need. So the conversation is now centered around how to make it more sustainable, how to make it long-lasting, so that you don't just give somebody something a day and then they are in need of it tomorrow. So it is a basic conversation that does not have any technicalities. We will try as much as possible to break down all the complexities and the sophisticated, messages around this philanthropy. So if you hear us, if you see us today, you are part of the conversation. It's not just for a particular group of people, but you are philanthropy, and we are doing this together with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Benedicta. For you, Rev, final words.
Yeah, thank you so much. So tomorrow is also going to be a time for co-creation. And just as I mentioned, Giving Tuesday, a global leader is going to be joining us virtually from US. And as we all come together.
I see. So
yes.
Giving Tuesday. So you made it fall on a Tuesday.
Yes. Yes. So we are hoping that the engagement also creates now solutions to support civil society organizations, NGOs that are working towards achieving the SDGs, but they need resources, they need the support to be able to achieve these SDG goals. And then we are believing that all the partners that are coming on board to will find a way to work together and to strengthen the movement that has been built in Ghana, so that in the next year's summit we will we have some success stories to share. Yeah. That when we had the first summit in person with various teams, this is what we're able to do, and that will continue to build the movement to see the change and transformation we want to see in Ghana.
All right, Emmanuel, Benedicta, kudos to you for the work you're doing. In the spirit of Christmas, I'm going to do this. I do a lot of this already, but in the spirit of Christmas, I'm going to offer some of my skills and time, if needed, at some point, whether this year or next year. And let's see what we can do for philanthropy in Ghana. But may God bless the work you're doing. And all roads lead to the British Council tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., right?
That's right.
As this summit goes on. It's all about the 4th Ghana Giving Summit. And you can see on your screens the details there. Those who joined us for this conversation this morning, we have Reverend Emmanuel Mafo, Acting Director, Center for Strategic Philanthropy and Social Investment, SEPSI of the Pentecost University, together with Benedicta Safua Asamoah, Coordinator, Women in Philanthropy. Stay with us. When we return, there's a lot more action, and at some point we'll definitely take you to Drapa, the Cozy Hills Hotel, where I don't know what you're looking forward to, impala or ostriches or hippos or lions. They have quite the experience awaiting you in the Upper West region. We'll be connecting with them later on the show. Stay. We'll be right back.